Warm, summery weather. We'll call it late spring warmth. Continues in the east, but we'll probably begin to see some increasing chances for thunderstorms as we head toward the end of the week and into the weekend. We've got some rain in parts of the southeast tonight as that Florida moisture has moved northward. I speak from experience because I'm raining here. Severe thunderstorms Friday and Saturday across the deep south, and we've got a weekend coming up. So we'll try to piece it all together for you in such an expert way, like we try to do here every night on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And those of you who'd like to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, if you don't like to support, force yourself. If you do your Amazon shopping, use our referral link at the top of the chat board. And when you use the link and you do some shopping, Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. The result is that this podcast, when we're live, is commercial free, and we'd like to keep it that way. So thank you for those of you who have shopped on Amazon and supported the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Been a beautiful day here in North Georgia until about 3 o'clock or 3:30, and then it rapidly clouded over, and by 5 o'clock, the downpours came. So we've been kind of on and off rain here this evening, but nothing terrible. No thunder and lightning, so I don't think I'm going to have to worry about any power outages. And for you, it was a very warm day of another day where we had air quality issues. Although I noticed on the satellite today that the smoke was a little bit less than what it's been from yesterday. So it seems like every day it's a little bit better.
Well, it started out rather hazy this morning. I think by the time we got to mid and late afternoon, it noticeably got better. The sky was a bit bluer. The haze was not quite as prevalent as there was earlier in the day. And there is an air quality alert, but it's not because of the high altitude smoke. It's because of local problems, ozone, which always seems to occur whenever the temperature gets to very warm levels. And we did reach into the 80s today. Humidity wasn't all that bad, but I think over the next couple of days, it's going to feel rather muggy and rather humid.
Okay, I'm going to stop the show right now. Okay, Joe, I'm going to stop the show right now because Terence Cardinal Contino is trying to find a reason why we're both wearing blue. I have no idea who Tom Thibodeau is. Do you know who that is?
No, I have
Who's
no
Tom?
idea.
Somebody got named Tom Thibodeau got fired. Yeah, I'm wearing blue for two reasons. First of all, this is my weather shirt. Okay,
Oh, I know who he's the coach. Yeah, see, he takes weather
that's
serious.
right.
No, but Tom Theobald is the. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe
Thibodeau.
I think he is the former coach of the New York Knicks. And what did the man do? The man only took a team which really a decade ago was the Washington Nationals of the National Basketball Association, and for the first time in about a quarter century, the team is actually competitive. They came oh so close to the NBA Finals, and as a reward for getting them that close to the finals, and he was with the team for like the last 4 or 5 years. They improved every year under his leadership, and this year, falling just short of the finals, what did the corporate hats do? They said you're gone, and they fired him. I don't understand why, but that's the way I think.
I don't follow basketball at all. Blue is my signature color, Joe. When you live in the South, you have to have a signature color, and blue has always been my signature color. So that's why I'm wearing blue. And Joe's wearing blue because he looks also, Joe, your signature color, I think, also should be blue.
Yeah, well, I'm always blue.
Well, there's no argument there.
I'm
Welcome to
always blue. I wake up every morning. And this drives Renata crazy. But I wake up most mornings, I turn to her, and the first words out of my mouth is a quote from Howard Cosell.
Yeah,
Ah, yes,
I know,
it's
Joe.
another. It's another day of frustration and futility, if you will. And today, well, I explained to you what happened to me today overall. So it lived up to its promotion. It was, in many ways for me, another day of frustration and futility. So
Okay. Well, um, yes, Anthony, signature color. Okay. When you live in the South, everybody has a signature color. This is the color that I look good in. I always liked blue. Blue, my eyes are blue, my shirt is blue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and Mr. Scott is going to Southampton this weekend. Very nice. Yeah, probably only 70 both days because you're going to have probably some, clouds and maybe a little bit of an ocean wind on Saturday. And then Sunday, I don't know how much clearing is going to happen. Maybe you'll get lucky, but um, I don't think it's going to be the best of weekends. But welcome tonight
isn't
to
this
everybody
isn't
on the.
this also the weekend of the Preakness? Not the
No, it's
Preakness.
it's the
Belmont.
Belmont Stakes this weekend at Saratoga.
Does that make a lot of sense, folks?
Well, Belmont's still under construction. I think
They've
next year, I think it comes back to Belmont next year. It's not the first time, by the way, where the race has been held outside of the parks that we know, the racetracks that we know of. If you go back in history, the Preakness actually used to be run, I believe, in New York someplace. So anyway, the Belmont's there's been back in the early 70s there was some Belmont construction, so it ran an aqueduct for 2 years. So this year, last year and this year, it's up at Saratoga. In fact, they race at Saratoga today. So welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight, including all you conspiracy theorists. And welcome to those of you who are watching in the background on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can watch every day, Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Incidentally, there is a new Weather Legends show, and I posted the link on my Facebook page as well as on various other platforms. So if you didn't catch our latest Legends show about the tropics and this hurricane season, you can check it out later on. The link, like I said, is posted on Facebook, and I'll post the link in the YouTube community page when I get a chance. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, folks, so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, by all means, hit the like button. So, shall we get started, Mr. Rayo?
Do you want me to start with the radar here, or
Well, you get the radars ready. I'll just really quick run through the warnings and watches that are up tonight. Actually, there are no severe thunderstorm watches up today. But that hasn't happened in quite a while. But we do have flood watches up again in northeastern Arizona and in southern Nevada, including Las Vegas and a couple of counties in Southern California. Also in southeast Utah and northwest also and central New Mexico, there are flash flood watches up for various counties. Still dealing with some air quality issues from eastern Nebraska to Iowa and Wisconsin and around Lake Michigan, also on the shores of Lake Erie in Ohio and in western New York, as well as south central, southeastern Pennsylvania into northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, and Connecticut. And tonight, yeah, we do see some lightning strikes going on in a few places, but in reality, when you look at this, it's few and far between. There's no organized lines of storms. And then we've got this subtropical moisture that's coming up from the Caribbean, or tropical moisture coming up from the Caribbean across Florida and getting swept into the southeast right now. That's a non-tropical low that is forming east of the Florida coast, and some of that moisture is pushing northward, but it's only going to be able to get so far north. And meanwhile, in the northeast, it's pretty quiet. Skies are clear, and if you look out on the far right, you can see the rotation of what is a storm system well southeast of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. It's not moving very much, so that's kind of keeping this weather front, which is trying to advance across Michigan and into southeastern Canada. It's going to keep that front from passing through. It's actually going to get hung up in upstate New York and up through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine for tomorrow, which is where you're likely to see potentially some severe weather, but no thunderstorm activity is being forecast for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England for Thursday. And speaking of radars, Joe is we're doing Rayo's radars, Joe. So it's all yours.
All right. If let me just check here to get the share button in place, and we shall share first. We're going to go from north to south, I believe, and we'll start with the lower peninsula of Michigan, Grand Rapids to be exact. And what you're seeing on the screen right now, with the cells of precipitation moving from southwest or west southwest to east northeast across the lower peninsula. Mostly, what you're seeing here is just showery rains, as Joe pointed out on the convection view, the satellite view. There really isn't very much in the way of active thunderstorm activity over the northern tier of the United States. You do see yellows and shades of oranges, so some of that precipitation, particularly over the boundary that separates Indiana from Michigan, some of that precipitation may be coming down moderate to even briefly heavy. But again, much of what you see here is just plain showery rains. Nothing severe, no thunderstorms of any great import or any significance, at least in this location. We go further south. Let's go down to Indianapolis, and you can see again, that's the area we were just looking at over, again, northwestern Indiana, heading for the lower peninsula of Michigan. Also, some activity showing up over central sections of Illinois, and again, all moving generally southwest to northeast. We continue southward. Let's go down to Paducah, Kentucky. Now, down in this area, some of this activity may very well be showing embedded lightning and thunder, especially over southeastern sections of Missouri. You see further north up into central sections of Illinois. A lot of this, though, again, is just moderate to maybe even briefly heavy rain. Again, nothing severe, no major convection problems taking place. But again, as we head south and it enters into a warmer and a more humid airflow, some of this activity may have some rumbles of thunder associated with it. We go further south, let's go down to Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, here is indeed a broken line of shower and thunderstorm activity. In fact, as the loop runs, you can see that the showers and storms are apparently dissipating or breaking up as they approach the capital city of Little Rock. But again, this is what you're seeing as you head further south down into the southern sections of the United States. Also, there is, and Joe pointed this out, kind of a circular area of moisture over the southeastern United States. Here you see the northern edge or the northern fringe of that across portions of South Carolina and also across portions of Georgia. In fact, some of that may even be reaching Mr. Chiaffi.
It
Is it?
is. Yeah,
It is.
no, it
So there
is.
you go. See, the radar knows all. The radar does not lie. It shows you exactly or precisely what is happening. And indeed, what is happening right now over the southeast is wet weather. Here we go with the Atlanta radar, and you can see, again, areas of moderate shower activity, maybe some embedded lightning and thunder, especially over southern sections of Georgia. There are some areas of red showing up, kind of a broken or narrow line of possible convection that is moving from south to north across, again, southern sections of Georgia. And one more look down into Florida. We'll go to Tallahassee, and you can see that there are, just widely scattered areas in Florida of shower activity and embedded thunderstorms that's coming off of the Gulf of Mexico and inland over, again, the panhandle of Florida. Here's Tallahassee over here. And again, you can see how this moisture coming up from the Gulf and moving inland. And again, these are very, very localized showers. I mean, this is one like spot of red here. So you can see how small these areas are that's affecting Florida. But again, if you happen to be unfortunately in the line of or in the path of one of these, it may rain hard for about 5 or 10 minutes, and maybe even a couple of strong gusts of wind as well. But for the moment, Joe, at least here in our neck of the woods, the Northeast, we go quickly to Upton, and we see that there's not much
Nothing.
of it to show you.
There's nothing. There's nothing. I'll give you the wider view here. And there's actually west of the St. Lawrence and northwest of the St. Lawrence River. That's where the frontal boundary is. But from Maine down into Virginia, you got nothing. Um, did you go to Illinois and Indiana and Missouri?
Yes,
Oh, you
yes.
did. Okay. There are a couple of flash flood warnings that have popped up to the southwest of St. Louis, and then there's also, there are some scattered thunderstorms and the occasional flash flood warning in the patchy precip that you see in Colorado, New Mexico, and into Utah. The Storm Prediction Center, as I said, no watches are in effect. We have a slight risk in a small area in east central New Mexico into west northwest Texas. There's like this narrow area of marginal risk that runs from East Texas up the Mississippi River Valley and then northeastward to Michigan and Ohio. Nothing in the Northeast and Mid Atlantic states. That's for tonight. Now, tomorrow, we have a marginal risk for isolated severe thunderstorms for Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, upstate New York. Basically, north of I 90 is probably where you have your highest risk, although the risk does extend down to southern New York, including the Catskills. That Catskills kind of on the edge of it, and then runs down through Ohio, Kentucky. It becomes a larger area of slight risk in West Texas, Oklahoma, and into Missouri. And there we have 2 to 5% tornado risk being indicated. And day three, which is for Friday into Saturday, we have a very large area of slight risk from East Texas, Southeast Colorado, and Southern Kansas, straight east across Oklahoma, Arkansas, Southern Missouri, Northern Alabama, Northern Mississippi, North Georgia. I always do that for some reason, if I'm going from west to east, I always wind up saying Alabama before Mississippi. I don't know why I do that. It's just I kind of mentally in my head for some reason. Tennessee, Kentucky. So a very large area of slight risk being indicated. And if we look at the long range, WPC has this area on day four extending a little further west to West Texas. And on the eastern side, it extends into South Carolina and southwestern North Carolina. So this would be for Saturday into Sunday. We don't have anything else beyond that other than predictability too low for days 5 and potential too low on days 8. So on day 8. So 5, 6, and 7 predictability too low. Day 8, which would be next Wednesday into Thursday. Okay, a week from now. And as far as rainfall is concerned, uh, rather extensive across the southern plains and the deep south, inch and a half to up to 3.5 inch amounts. Also along the coast of the Carolinas, we're looking at several inches of rain over the next 7 days. In the Northeast, it's roughly a half to 3 quarters in the coastal plain, a little bit less in southeastern New England, and an inch and a half plus when you go up through upstate New York, western PA, and into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And the reason for that is probably what will happen tomorrow, which is really pretty much confined there, and then it just gets added on with what's coming for Friday into Saturday. I mean, there's not much really that's changed here since yesterday. Just running through the European the Florida low, such as it is, that rain is going to push northward overnight and during the day tomorrow. Meanwhile, we've got the front to the north that stalls with some showers and thunderstorms that pop up from late morning to mid afternoon, again to the north. Now, Friday, you got the low trying to move off the North Carolina coast, and that will allow the front to sag southeastward. So we could see some showers and storms. Although if you look at the European, it's mostly well inland on this one. The overnight runs were bringing rain much further east and south to the coast. But the most recent runs have kind of pinned this a little bit more to the northwest on Friday. So if you believe the European, it's not going to, I think you have to throw in the chance that there could be a late day or evening shower or thunderstorm, but don't be surprised if it doesn't happen. Now, Saturday might be a different story because the frontal boundary will be kind of stalled until that low near Cape Cod gets out of the way. So I think we'll probably have some showers and some rumbles of thunder to deal with. Sunday looking a little better. Monday looking dry until we get another front that approaches, although the European is slowing it down and then, revving up some tropical moisture in there for Tuesday with some next Tuesday for showers and thunderstorms. So, but basically, Joe, it's just weather front after weather front. And, they get hung up for one reason or another for a day or so, and then they move out. Um, I said yesterday, this is sort of to me, it's like a ho hum early to mid June type of weather pattern. And I don't see anything here today that changes my mind on that.
What's the GFS saying about our major hurricane
Oh,
for?
yes. Let's see. We get to look at two runs of the GFS. So let's look at the 12Z. I didn't even look at last night. Let's look at the 12Z and see where the zombie hurricane is. And okay, so we're at 204, nothing so far. We're at 246, nothing. Although I do see there is, the way the isobars are curled, there's something probably in the Caribbean someplace. And there it is, Joe. There it is. At 318 hours, we have a minimal hurricane that crosses Cuba, runs up the west coast of Florida and into Georgia, passing to my west and bringing flooding rains to Georgia and into eastern Tennessee and northern Alabama. So
Let
that's
me point out. Let me point out that that track is not too different from the track that what was the name, Helene,
Helene.
last year. Yeah, I mean, like that, the one that caused all of the flooding and devastation last year.
Hmm.
Now, this is like what, 300 plus hours into the
It's a
future.
zombie hurricane,
It's a
Joe.
zombie hurricane.
You
I mean,
know,
but if that were to occur, I mean, like, and the poor people who are still waiting to, either get their homes repaired or are still recovering from that atrocity last year, last fall, and now we've got maybe something coming 300 hours down the road, if you want to believe that. I personally don't believe it. Come back to me. Come back to me if we're within 5 days of the event and it's still showing that. Then I'll have some. I'll take some belief in it. But right now, it's just science fiction as far
all
as I'm
right.
concerned.
Well, now we have the 18Z run, which has it in the Northwest Caribbean, closer to the Yucatan. Then it moves northeast over Cuba, and then runs up the Florida, comes in Southwest Florida, comes out the other side, and runs up the eastern seaboard, passing south and east of Long Island at 366 hours. That would be June 20th, by the way. So there you have it. You can certainly count on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast to make sure that you get to see the zombie hurricanes that are put up routinely by the GFS. And in fact, since I've got the map up, let's go. I'm going to put the North Atlantic
It
view.
would be it would be interesting to know if it had all of the data. We've been speaking in recent weeks about how there's some radio sonde data, the lofted by balloons that are not being inputted into the super computers anymore. It'd be interesting to see if we had that extra data, what the GFS would come up with. But
Honestly, Joe, I think it still would make the zombie hurricanes.
yeah, because
I mean, at the end of the day,
that's
it's a
the
piss.
mo. That's the mo of the
Yeah, I mean,
GFS.
it's a piss poor model when it comes to this sort of stuff. I mean, every once in a while, broken clocks are right twice a day, except military clocks, and they're only right once a day. But here we go. I mean, this is just routine. You get those snowstorms in the wintertime. But I have said many times, you look always to see if the European is confirming this. Okay. And judging from what I'm looking at on the European, I don't see anything really that, comes even remotely close to confirming what the GFS is doing. And we might as well take a look at the Canadian, just for laughs, uh, see what that does. Speaking of broken clocks being right twice a day, now the Canadian only going out 10 days has nothing, and I assume the icon. I have a little more respect for the icon. I don't think the icon.
But the
You
icon
don't.
doesn't go out beyond 10 days, right? They're
No, the
100.
icon only goes out to 180 hours, and on the
Yeah.
off runs, it only goes out to 120. But on the whole, the icon tends to be more like the European than the GFS. And I'm not seeing anything on the icon, at least for the next, through 180 hours, which would take us to a week from today. So there you go. And that's off the 12Z run. So just be prepared. This is going to be a nightly escapade with the GFS, with these zombie hurricanes in the long range. They mean absolutely nothing. Um, they just don't. And you know what? Even if it wound up being right, it still doesn't count in my view. Yeah, and
Well,
it's
we'll
not
see. I mean,
it's not a good forecast tool in the
we're
long
talk,
range.
I mean, we're talking
But
about here, we're talking about something that might happen, sometime around the 18th to the 20th of June, still a couple of weeks away. So, why even, dwell on it when we know that it's going to deviate from whatever it's showing now?
you're correct. Oh, so here we are. It's 4 minutes after 8 Eastern time. If you're watching us live, I just proved that we're live because I just told them the real time. Any other exciting developments?
No, nothing. No, it's, somebody asked, do we think that if that tomorrow Central Park might hit 90? They've yet to hit 90 at Central Park.
How high did it get today?
Uh, 80, according to the record, 82.9. Now, when it's 82.9, do they say 82, or do they round it to the higher number and go with 83?
They probably go to 83.
Okay, well, there you go.
Uh, I'm kind of surprised it only got to 83. Let me just take a look at the digital forecast today. I just want to see what they had.
I can tell you that the 18Z GFS and the 12Z NAM both tomorrow for Central Park are going for 88, just a couple of degrees shy of the 90 mark.
Yeah, the digital forecast for tomorrow from the Weather Service has 91. I guess that's Teterboro, and they got a 91 in. The number is like right over the North Bronx, so I don't think that we're supposed to be reflecting White Plains. I'm not sure what that is. They have an 88 at Poughkeepsie. They have an 88 at LaGuardia, 82 at Islip, and it's mostly middle and upper 80s everywhere else. Um, Maybe the smoke and all the rain, the water content of the ground is not low. That does have a bit of a cooling effect to some extent. So, um, maybe that's why the temperatures aren't going as high as they otherwise would. Say if we were in a drought pattern, for example.
Well, I do believe that tomorrow we're probably going to be talking about the increase or the higher level of dew point temperatures that will make it feel a bit more uncomfortable, and we're going to have to deal with that for the next 2 or 3 days.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the humidity is going to be higher tomorrow.
yes, no question about that, and the same for
Uh,
Friday and the same for Saturday.
Low and mid 60s dew points tomorrow. Low and mid 60s dew points for Friday. Low and mid 60 dew points for Saturday. Well, the upside is that it's not low and mid 70s dew points. Those are
No,
god.
we,
That's god awful when it gets that high. It really is.
as Tex Antoine, the late Tex Antoine used to say, when you get dew points above 70, that's wallpaper beginning to peel off your wall weather.
Or your skin getting to peel off. I never did humidity well. But down
Yeah.
here it's different. I don't know. To me, being in the mountains, I think because of the quality of the air, the humidity will be high in the summertime, but it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel that bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm odd in that way, but it doesn't feel. It certainly to me it feels a lot. The humidity where you are, Joe, where the air doesn't basically doesn't move, to me feels a lot worse than the humidity down here.
Well, I'm trying to think in my mind what else there is to talk about, but really, I think we've just about covered everything for the night tonight.
All right, I'm ready to go to bed. I did two loads of laundry and folded all my clothes. I washed my sheets today, Joe, because you should always wash your sheets. You should only wash your sheets in months that have the letter J in them.
I think Renata washed our it's not a blanket. Is it a quilt? No, not a quilt.
A
I don't know.
comforter?
I don't know what you call it, but she washed it this morning. So I guess
Well, that's my household tip. June is a month with a J in it, so you should wash your sheets. Okay. And uh, the other thing I did was I rotated my mattress. So that
now, now wait a minute, Joe. Joe, we may have a call here for just the Joe show. Latex Dreams has just posted on the chat board. Rayo has to go.
I'm not
So
sh- I'm not sure what Tim is doing right now or what he's well, I won't go down that particular road. So I don't know why he's saying that, Joe. I'm sure he means it in the most loving way.
oh, okay.
And on that note, I meant to tell you this. I did. So do you usually get, I mean, I get them from, from time to time. Do you usually get, um, messages from people saying, I got this party next Saturday, with 50 people coming over? La- Um, what's the weather going to be like? Do you get those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I got one the other day, and God love him. It made me laugh, and it was great. Without missing a beat, he said, he started it off, and he says, uh, "Joe, I need to know what the weather is going to be like Saturday. I have 50 people coming over, and I want it to pour rain so that I can cancel it and that they won't come." I really got such a kick out of that. He may get if you're watching this, I won't mention your name because if I do, and if your relatives watch the show, which is probably not likely, but I don't want to take the chance of getting you into trouble. But I want you to know that you made my day that day, yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday when you asked me. Put a big smile on my face. So there you go. On that note, we say goodnight. Hope everybody had a great, what is it, Wednesday today? Hope you had a great Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:35.
Have a good night, folks.
Nighty night.